Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Haribol. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, Chapter 1, entitled The Curse upon the Yadu Dynasty. And today is text 6 and 7 on the board. Please repeat after me. Swamutya lokalavanya nirmuktya lochanam rinam girbishtha smaratham chittam padaistan ikshatam kriya achidya kirtim sushlokam vitatya yanjasanuku tamonanyaya tarishyantiti tamonaya tarishantiti agatsvam padamishvara. Someone else? Swamutya lokalabanya nirmukya lochanam rinam girbista smaratham chitam padaistan ikshitam kriya Oh, that's what. I see. Only one is on the board. Okay, I'll do it again. Swamurtya lokalabanya nimuktya lochanam ninam girbishta smaratam chitam padaistan ikshitam kriya. Anyone else? Swamurtya lokalabanya nirmuktya lochanam rinam girbishta smaratam chittam padaistan ikshatam kriya. Mataji. Swamurtya lokanam nanya nirmuktya lochanam rinam girbishta smaratam chittam paraistam nikshatam kriya. Okay, word for word synonyms. Swamurtyaya, by his own form. Loka, of all the material worlds. Labanya, the beauty. Nirmuktya, which takes away. Lochanam, he attracted, or the eyes. Nrinam, of men. Girbi, by his words. Ta, Ta smaratam, of those who remember them. Chittam, the mind. Padai, by his feet. Tan ikshatam, of those who saw them. Kriya, the physical activities of walking, etc. Achidya, having attracted. Kirtim, his glories. Sushlokam, praised by the best verses. Bitatya, having spread. He, certainly. Anjasa, easily. Nu, indeed. Ko, upon the earth. Tamaha, ignorance. Ananya, by those glories. Tarishyanti, people will cross over. Iti, thus thinking. Agat, he obtained. Swam padam, his own desired position. Ishvara, the Lord. Translation and purport. Please repeat after me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the reservoir of all beauty. All beautiful things emanate from him, and his personal form is so attractive that it steals the eyes away from all other objects, which then seem devoid of beauty in comparison to him. When Lord Krishna was on the earth, he attracted the eyes of all people. And when Krishna spoke, his words attracted the minds of all who remember them. By seeing the footsteps of Lord Krishna, people became attracted to him. And thus they wanted to offer their bodily activities to the Lord as his followers. In this way, Krishna very easily spread his glories, which are sung throughout the world by the most sublime and essential Vedic verses. Lord Krishna considered that simply by hearing and chanting those glories, conditioned souls born in the future, that means now, would cross beyond the darkness of ignorance. Being satisfied with this arrangement, he left for his desired destination. Wow. The purport to these verses is extremely long. Anyway, we'll do some of it. According to Sridhar Swami, this Sridhar Swami is the original commentator of Bhagavatam. And it was his commentary that Lord Chaitanya used to listen to as they were sung by Gadadhar Pandit. This is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very much appreciated Sridhar Swami's commentary. So much that when another devotee, I can't remember his name, he had just started coming around the association of Mahaprabhu and his men. Yes, Ballavacharya. He was a scholar and devotee, but he offered that. He said, I wrote a better commentary than Sridhar Swami. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not appreciate his pride, him saying that he wrote something better than the original commentary of Sridhar Swami. So Mahaprabhu told him, he said, what did he say? He said, you don't respect the Swami. And the word Swami also means husband. So he said, so you are like a prostitute, an unchaste woman who does not respect her husband. Which was a heavy critique by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So from the beginning, Vallabhacharya was a little, he was shown, his pride was cut by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he said, do not think that you don't think that you're better than the previous acharyas. You know, it's all right to write a commentary on it, but don't say that you are better than them. And this Mahaprabhu is teaching his followers. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada always taught us to respect the previous acharyas, the cyclic succession, beginning with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gokishodas Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. They are all illustrious and beyond we can't even conceive of how high they are. So we should always be respectful and humble. And when we're going to read in Bhagavatam specifically, Prabhupada would many times throughout his purport cite, statements by the previous acharyas. So in Bhagavatam, we're getting not just Prabhupada's purport. In his purport, we're getting, along with he's sharing with us commentaries by the previous acharyas. So we're getting a really substantial rendition of Bhagavatam. So, according to Sridhar Swami, these two verses indicate that Lord Krishna, having achieved all the purposes for which he had descended, went back to his spiritual kingdom, to his abode. It is natural that people in the material world hanker to see a beautiful object. In materialistic life, however, our consciousness is polluted by the influence of the three modes of nature, and therefore we hanker for material objects of beauty and pleasure. The materialistic process of sense gratification is imperfect because the laws of material nature will not allow us to be happy or satisfied in materialistic life. The living entity is constitutionally an eternal servant of God. And is meant to appreciate the infinite beauty and pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jive Swarupoy Krishnera Nityadas. This is our identity. We are eternally servants of Krishna. And so, we should appreciate hearing the glories of Krishna again and again. Prabhupada took the time to translate and write so many books about Krishna. Excuse me a minute. My legs are... I cannot sit like a yogi. By serving Krishna, we can also share in his ocean of beauty and pleasure. And thus, our desire to see beautiful things and enjoy life will be fully satisfied. The example is given that the hand cannot enjoy food independently, but can assimilate it indirectly by giving it to the stomach. Similarly, by serving Lord Krishna, the living entity who is part and parcel of the Lord will derive unlimited happiness. The inconceivable Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, by displaying his own true form, freed the living entities from falsely seeking forms of beauty other than his form, which is itself the source of all beautiful things. Simply by seeing his lotus feet, fortunate living beings could distinguish between the ungodly endeavors of the karmis who seek gross enjoyment for their own sense gratification and the practice of dovetailing one's activities with the service of the Lord. Although philosophers perpetually speculate about the nature of God, Lord Krishna directly liberated the jiva souls from all speculative misunderstandings about him by displaying his actual transcendental form and activities. Superficially, Krishna's personal form, words, and activities resemble those of ordinary conditioned souls. Superficially. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that this apparent resemblance between the Lord's activities and those of the living entities is a merciful concession by the Lord, so that the conditioned souls will be attracted to him and become eligible to return to his kingdom for an eternal life of bliss and knowledge. By showing his own spiritual form and kingdom to the living entities in a way that's tangible for them, Lord Krishna drove away their false enjoying attitude and removed their long-standing indifference to his personality. As is stated in Bhagavad Gita, if one can understand the position of Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one will never again fall into the network of material illusion. Such a fall down can be avoided if one constantly hears about the unique transcendental form and beauty of the Lord from authorized Vedic literature. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Yam imam pushpitam bacham pravadantya vipaschita viravada partha nanyadastiti vadina kamatmana swarga para janma karma falapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishvarya gatim prati. Meaning, men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. So, Krishna is God. When Prabhupada was going to register his society, ISKCON, it said the name will be the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And one gentleman who was there at the time, Prabhupada was registering this society with just a handful of devotees at the time. But he had such a big idea, the International Society. One devotee who was there present told me that we thought that this movement was just going to be here in New York, 2nd Avenue. But Prabhupada had a much bigger idea. He spoke the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Anyway, one man suggested to Prabhupada, wouldn't it be better to call it the International Society for God Consciousness? And Prabhupada said, no. Krishna is God. People do not know who is God. But we know who is God, what is His name, where He lives, His mother's name, His father's name, brother's name, His friends. We can give so much information, but no other scripture in the world is big religious movements. And comparatively, ISKCON, as Prabhupada was forming it, was just a small handful of devotees. Like here, we just have a small handful of devotees in a big temple. But Prabhupada, he knew, he came with a heart full of love for Krishna, knowledge of Krishna, and he wanted to share that, to give this to the people of the world. And as mentioned here in the purport, that many followers of the Vedas, even Krishna is saying it, people become attracted to the flowery language of the Vedas. It means karma kanda. That is all throughout the Vedas. Recommendations for if you want to go to the heavenly planets and enjoy, live for thousands of years. If you want, you worship, perform this yajna. If you want a beautiful wife, you do this. If you want education, you worship this way. Similarly, all kinds of recommendations are there for materially minded people. And therefore, Narad Muni, when he was this is in the Bhagavatam, first canto, Narad Muni is instructing Srila Vyasadeva, who compiled the Vedas. Vedic knowledge is eternal. It's eternal. It's sometimes said to be the breathing of Narayan. So it was existing. And for thousands of years it was, how was this knowledge passed down and preserved? It was spoken from spiritual master to disciple. There were no books, but people were of different caliber. They could hear one time and remember it for life. An example is given when Shukadev Goswami spoke Bhagavatam for the first time. There were many saintly persons in the audience, and Sutta Goswami was there. And then sometime after, Sutta Goswami spoke Bhagavatam again. Just from memory, he heard it once. And the sages at Naimisharanya, they said, you were there and you heard it, and so we want to hear what it is you heard. And then he spoke. But now, in Kali Yuga, everything is diminished. Our life, we don't live very long, right? From Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, a decrease in life, memory, good qualities and so on has taken place. So Vyasadeva, when he compiled the Vedas, gathered all that knowledge that was, was vogue. People knew about Vedic knowledge. He compiled it in written form, but he wasn't, after doing so, he was not happy. He felt, the words Prabhupada used, he felt that his work was undone, not finished. But he thought he had compiled everything. So his spiritual master was Narad Muni. He came by. Narad Muni has a way of disappearing on the scene at the right time. And he said, what's the matter, Vyas? Why are you so... He says, I don't know, Gurudev, but maybe you can help me. So Narad Muni said, well, you have given so much, no one can compare to you. You have, all these Vedas, you've done them so much. So and you're not satisfied? So if you are not satisfied, how will people be satisfied? And then he said, yes, in all your writing you've mentioned Krishna here and there in different places, but you never really came out and declared emphatically that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You haven't done that. That's why you're not satisfied. And therefore, that's why people won't be satisfied. You've given them, people want sense gratification, and you've simply given them a way to have sense gratification by this karma kandya. So as far as I'm concerned, Narad Muni said, I think you've wasted your time. Who could tell the great Vyasa that he's wasted his time? His guru. Narad Muni says, you're just catering to people's desire for sense gratification by giving all these karma kandya things. So what you need to do, he said, you are a most qualified person, you should sit down and go into samadhi, meditate. And in samadhi you will witness the pastimes of Krishna. And you write about that. Therefore the Srimad Bhagavatam is sometimes called Samadhi Bhashya. It's a commentary coming from Vyasa's Samadhi. And even the Bhagavatam itself says this is a spotless Purana. There's no karma kanda, none of that, which is found in the other sections of Vedas. Srimad Bhagavatam is said it's for the Paramhamsas, those who only want the essence, the truth. So, Krishna has appeared and showed not only him alone, he brings his Dham, Vrindavan Dham, with him and the many associates. Similarly, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings in one song, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Jive Doya Kari, Swaparshada, Sviya Dham, Sahaya Avatari. He has brought his Dham with him, brings to show us this is how you can be, how to be devotee. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He comes with giving the Yuga Dharma, the process of chanting, he himself chanting, and he's showing by example, this is what it means to be a devotee. Always participating in Sankirtan, congregational chanting, etc. And this is for this age, this is the method. The other things, there are many things mentioned, given in Vedas, but we can't do them. We cannot do them. Prabhupada will even sometimes say, we even have difficulty doing this simple thing, chanting Hare Krishna. But we have to do this. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Mahaprabhu has taught, you have to chant in a humble state of mind. Trinadapi sunichina, tvarorapi sahishtuna, amani namanadena kirtaniya sadahari. Be prepared to offer all respects to others, but don't expect any for yourself. If you chant Hare Krishna in this mood, then life will be successful. You'll go back to home, back to Godhead. Prabhupada has given us this assurance. And now we know he's given so much. Very early in the movement, Prabhupada, he was translating Bhagavatam, and maybe he was in the second or third canto, and he stopped and he went and wrote Krishna book. He wrote the Krishna book very quickly, which is such a wonderful book. It's just all about Krishna, Krishna's biography. And when he gave it to the devotees, one devotee said, but Prabhupada, you always told us that we shouldn't jump to the 10th canto, which is all about Krishna, but you should go through the 9 cantos. But here you are giving us the 10th canto in a summarized form. How are we to understand this? And Prabhupada said, well, I had to give you a taste of what's to come. You don't know anything about Krishna. And it was true. Who knew anything about Krishna? Especially in the West, we knew nothing. I'd never heard the name of Krishna before. When I first met the devotees, they told me, and this was in Harinam Sankirtan in New York, they said, Krishna is God. And I said, okay. But I didn't know. And I said, you think Krishna is God? He said, I said, what does he look like? He had a book, a picture of Krishna. This is what he looks like. Now he was completely convinced Krishna is God, and we should hear about him. Here, his form is described so beautifully that it captivates the minds of the most intelligent people. The most intelligent people in the universe, Brahma and Shiva, they are captivated. The devotee asked Prabhupada, you said the most intelligent people are captivated. Yes, but how come we're not seeing the intelligent people coming to join our movement, the scholars and professors? Prabhupada said, they're not really intelligent. Brahma, Shiva, they are intelligent. They are captivated. So Prabhupada had a different concept, and he was trying to attract us to come in and enter this world, this view. In one sense, he was breaking our faith in the materialistic endeavors. They think we can solve everything by science, but actually no. Things are not life. Life for people in general has not gotten better by all this advancement. It's worse. And it's Kali Yuga, so it will continue in that way, getting worse and worse and worse. But if we stick to hearing about Krishna from Guru Parampara, from the disciplic succession, then we can be sheltered from the effects of this age. So, I think I went over time. We'll stop there. We'll continue. I'll be here for a few days so we can continue the purports. It's a long purport, like 5 or 6 pages. Alright? Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. We can try. Who has questions? Oh, you? Hmm? Oh. Yeah, somebody else told me that 8:30, but that's why Anyway, what is your question? With this, lifetime ability to there is this very extraordinary statement given says that everybody is attracted to Krishna. First says that just by even seeing his little speed or hearing his words or his activities, touch,
everyone is attracted. So it's a very, covers everything.
Yeah.
Now, Krishna does say in the Gita that only four people comes to him, and four types of people just don't connect
Mm-hmm.
with him. So, how do you explain this apparent contradiction, which we always know that Krishna solved in your experience with glorifying and chanting the glory of the Lord and the attractive nature that even in money and
They can be attracted. Yeah.
share with us your realization.
Hmm. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they were present just a little over 500 years ago, and they delivered Jagai and Madai, who were, at that time, they were considered to be the most degraded persons, sinful persons. There was no sin they hadn't committed. And still they were delivered by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They became devotees, actually, became very good devotees. One of them, Madai, had gone so far as to hit Nityananda Prabhu with a clay pot because they had liquor in the pot, they were drinking. They were always, and they were, people were afraid of them. They had a grip on the city, on the town of Navadvip. People saw them and they went the other way because they would do anything. And the authorities didn't try to stop them. But Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu especially, he thought, if I could get these people to take up Krishna consciousness, then my Lord's glories, Gauranga's glories will be spread. And today we are hearing about these glories. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. So the Krishna's, Lord Chaitanya's Leela is not different from Krishna Leela. It's another Leela. It's Krishna appearing in another form, in a different way. And this form is most merciful. This Leela, the pastimes are most merciful because he's giving out Krishna Prem to anyone and everyone, regardless. This movement is an example. When Prabhupada came, before he left India, he was coming here, people were trying to tell him, why are you going to the West? Those people are hopeless, useless. They kill cows, they do so many horrible things. But that did nothing stopped Prabhupada. He knew that he had firm faith in the words of his spiritual master, who told him he should go and preach in English. And Prabhupada was given that order, but he had no facility, he had no money, he had nothing. But he accepted the order, and he was living his life trying to organize and plan how he will be able to do that. And so by the time he finally got to America, still he had no money. He had a trunk full of books that he was bringing. Bhagavatam, first canto. But he knew what he was going to do. He had a vision how he would spread Krishna consciousness. And he was an old man, but he was determined to take every opportunity that came his way. And he saw this is coming by the will of Krishna. And he continued. And what he's done is remarkable. It's remarkable. After he had established a few temples in the West, then he went back to India and continued preaching extensively. So we are seeing how people are taking to Krishna consciousness. It's in every continent, every country. Krishna is a household word. Everybody knows of Krishna. So he has done it. And he's left something for us to do also. He's left something for us, some service for us to do. We shouldn't just relax and think that it's already been done. So much more can be done. So if you look, you will see that it's happening. It's happening. We are here today, the presence of Kishore, Kishori. It's happening. And we have to take it. As much as we take it, as much as we avail ourselves, their mercy, we will see it happening. Okay? Haribol. Okay, at this time I went over. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.